Hello, all, and welcome to the newest episode of the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. I'm Austin. I'm a knockout. Watch a lot of wrestling.
I'm David. I'm a noob. Haven't watched nearly as much wrestling. And the first rule of Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club unless you're doing a podcast.
Hey, because we are back in wrestling's greatest fight club, and weirdest, Lucha Underground.
I think best and weirdest are the two necessary adjectives for Lucha, because yes to both, extremely yes to both. I cannot emphasize the amount of yes to both that this is.
Yeah. So tonight we are covering the next two episodes of Lucha Underground, season 1, episodes 17 and 18. We are cruising right along. We're at almost the halfway point of the season. The season only has 39 episodes.
Oh.
So we are coming up on the halfway mark.
Fun.
Yeah, so we'll start off with the one thing that we actually that they pre-advertised is what was happening. Big Rick versus Sexy Star. Winner gets to fight the crew.
Yeah, that one. I've been really interested to see how it plays out ever since Dario manifested it on the show, because that one either way has some really interesting narrative possibilities. And I'm not entirely sure which way it's going to go, so I'm really excited to see that one play out for multiple reasons.
Yeah. It is all part of Dario's scheming of his plans to try to get rid of Big Rick and Sexy Star by just having Big Rick take her out, and then the crew will take Rick out.
Yeah, basically, if Dario Cueto comes to you and says he has a unique opportunity, run for the fucking hills.
Yeah, you do not trust that at all. It is bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happened previously on Lucha Underground? As we just mentioned, Dario Cueto is doing a scheming as he attempts to get rid of the people that he sees as freaks from his temple, even though he was like, this temple is open to everybody. That was apparently a fucking lie.
I mean, to be fair, it is Dario Cueto. What the hell do you expect?
True. So he had the crew hospitalize Pimpinella Escarlata and Masquerita Sagrada, but they could not finish the job on Sexy Star because Big Rick showed up and is like, hey, I would like revenge for that whole burning my eye out with a cigar thing.
Yeah, Dario, for as maniacal as he is, he's really not good at planning for contingencies, I've noticed.
No, he kind of, his plans always work, assuming that everything goes exactly as he thinks it's going to go.
Yeah, 60% of the time works every time or whatever.
Yep. It's no Batman game, but I'm going to say that.
Fair enough.
So that is where they are. Life versus Death is taking an interesting love triangle angle, as that it also involves lots of choking and stuff.
Choking, licking, weird power plays in relationships, some vague infidelities. We got it all, baby.
It is the sexiest that we've ever seen. The forever conflict between life and death, I suppose, as Mil Muertes and Phoenix are apparently fighting over Catrina.
Yeah, which again, I will say slightly confused and concerned on why Phoenix is already into this, because when this first happened, Catrina shows up and she's macking on Phoenix, and Phoenix just seems to be like, okay, I don't know what's going on. He didn't seem to be super responsive to the thing, right? So all of a sudden, the fact that he's into it out of kind of nowhere is kind of wild, but whatever.
He thought it over and he realized that sexy ghost powers lady is a good get.
I suppose so. I guess that's it. He weighed pros and cons and was stonks.
Yeah, and we all as we learned last time, he loves white knighting for women. and he gets to white knight hard for Catrina when Mil Muertes is going to be Mil Muertes about it.
That's you know what? That's very fair. When Mil Muertes is going to be Mil Muertes about it.
Yeah, we've already discussed all of his interesting how very interesting the physical relationship Muertes and Catrina have.
I you would think that like if Catrina was formerly in for a penny and in for a pound on that relationship, like she wouldn't like she wouldn't abandon it for somebody who's coded a lot more vanilla, but like I guess we all got our preferences.
I suppose.
God, this fucking thing.
Yes, and isn't it great? This isn't the only romance angle going on this show right now that makes me slightly uncomfortable. In fact, this is the one. Let's talk about the other one that makes me more uncomfortable, as the saga of Ivelisse, Son of Havoc, and Angelico continues.
Oh my god! Wait, is Angelico like permanently like engaged in this now?
Yes, this is the storyline now.
Oh my god!
Thing.
Are we about to do like a weird?
I like where the story goes, but we're at a part in the story I'm not having fun in.
Oh god, are we about to do like some weird ass love triangle thing?
I'm not gonna say what happens here.
Okay, fine.
As I do, but yeah, Son of Havoc continues to be demeaned and belittled by his girlfriend Ivelisse, and here comes Angelico, who is supposed to be a good guy, I think, but is also being a creeper at Ivelisse in matches, and she's not into it. And so the only one person who comes out of this looking like a good guy is Son of Havoc.
Just the ultimate irony for like how he started off. Like he started off just being so terrible, the sexy start, and now he's just like a major simp to his girlfriend and being portrayed as like a complete like helpless soft boy just trying to
his first appearance was him being like, I don't want to wrestle a woman at Sexy Star, and now here we are where he is the nicest he actually comes off like a sympathetic character. That's the power of Ivelisse being a huge bitch.
Yeah, I'm still like kind of shook at the fact that like this is very evidently taking a turn for I'm gonna like empathize with Son of Havoc of all people. I've had like a whole ass month to process this, and I'm still not quite like over it. And I don't think I'm gonna be over it for a long time, just because when he first debuted, I was like just big yuck all around. So
he gets so much better though. He's becoming the face. He's a fun underdog. I'm telling you.
I this is one of those things I have to wonder like what the plan was, because Lucha is again clearly more like tightly scripted than something like WWE is. I have to wonder
I should say more planned out. Not they're equally scripted.
But like when I say tightly, I mean like everything's a bit more like everything at least feels a bit more like controlled. Like it doesn't feel, and maybe this is the noob talking out of his ass, but it doesn't feel to me like they would do they would have moments like what they had with Summer of Punk, where the heel all of a sudden just like has to turn face because he's way too popular. Like it seems like that's not the sort of thing that Lucha Underground like kowtows to, because it like doesn't need to. But at the same time, like it feels weird if it was like the plan all along that Son of Havoc was like going to start off as this like horrendous like cartoony heel and then just turn face because his girlfriend sucks.
I don't know if it was the plan with Son of Havoc, but you mentioned this concept of the heel just having to become a face, which I say we'll get there.
Oh, okay. I'm wondering what that could mean.
Yeah. So we have that. And I guess we can talk about the Lucha Underground champion, I guess, whatever. He's doing a thing with Cage as he continues to we were frozen there for a second.
No, I'm here. I'm just very still.
Oh yeah. Anyway, we have Cage insisting on being Lucha Underground champion, and Prince Puma really struggling to put him away, and not helped by the fact that his relationship with his mentor Konnan doesn't seem to be getting better.
Yeah, Konnan's on some weird shit, and I'm really wondering how this is going to turn out narratively. Because on one hand, it seems like, oh yeah, we're gonna go real hard into some sort of like crazy Konnan heel turn betrayal shit. But it seems like it's gonna be explosive to play out no matter what.
Yeah. And so Cage has a match with a date with Prince Puma sometime in the future, as he did beat Prince Puma, but not by Puma's choice. He did it when Konnan threw in the towel for him.
Yeah,
because Cage was just trying to beat him to
death. Yeah, bizarre. I'm just, again, I don't know if this is gonna. This is clearly building up to Konnan like pulling some shit. I just don't know if it's gonna be like some sort of like his hubris gets the better of him, and like he just goes way too overboard in his pursuit of like greatness through Puma, or it's some like orchestrated betrayal that he's been working on for fucking ever. I don't know. Again, the show keeps you guessing.
Yeah. Then we have Cuerno in his hunt, taking on fighting Johnny Mundo, presumably because Mundo wears furs.
Yeah.
And it got so bad that they fought all over the arena, to the point they crashed each other through one of the production walls.
Yeah,
one of the production gates.
I'm kind of surprised that like they're gonna be able to ostensibly keep getting away with like fighting each other when clearly their rivalry is so bad already that they're like willing to do property damage on the temple. I know Dario likes his like blood sports and ratings and shit and really hates Johnny Mundo, but like I also feel like he likes his down payment and overhead enough to like not entirely eat it, you know.
Well, we do have a follow-up to that on this episode that I think answers your question on what Dario's solution to this problem is.
Oh, well, cool. Good on this show for continuing to like follow through on consequences and narrative through lines. What a concept.
Like Thursdays. Anyway, Pentagon Jr. continues to sacrifice all the jobbers that he can get a hold of, breaking their arms in sacrifice to his Dark Master. I would think maybe his master would appreciate more powerful foes' arms, but you know, who am I to doubt Pentagon Jr.'s knowledge of the ancient evil arts or whatever he's doing here.
Yeah. His eternal master, whoever he may be, I guess just really wants those arm bones sacrificed in his name. I don't know.
No. He is getting worse though, because the last one, he not only broke his arm, he also put him through a table.
Yeah, apparently Pentagon Jr. is a Buffalo Bills fan. Who knew?
Hey!
That one's for all you sports ball lovers out there.
The sports ball. What else happened? I mean, I know the one, I'm saving the one for last, so I'm trying to think of everything else before that. I believe we are at the end, the last bit of the Black Lotus saga.
Oh yes.
Of where she found the thing in the cage, and she was like, I've been hunting you my whole life because you killed my family. And then LOL, she was kidnapped.
Yeah. Some dude in a mask. Although it doesn't seem like necessarily like it's a malicious dude. It seems more like a tactical kidnapping, because dude was like, come with me if you want answers or some shit like that. So
I'm pretty sure he said that. I'm pretty sure when he pulled her out of the trunk, he said that exactly.
Yeah, I did my best to remember, but yeah. So if you know, this turns out to be like a not evil guy, you know, suddenly kidnapping Black Lotus is a way to go.
Look, there was probably a way he could have done that that's a little more, you know, less of a felony crime, but you know, you got to do what you got to do.
This guy knew what show he was on. There ain't no rules.
There's no laws but Dario's law.
True. It ain't illegal if the Dario ain't around to catch you. Anyway.
Hey, there's no cops around here, even though there's apparently
Yeah, except for the armed guards.
Armed, okay.
Yeah,
Armed.
yeah, okay. In heavy air quotes, armed guards.
Oh, right. And Tejano and Alberto El Patron are still swinging bullwhips at each other because their feud from AAA continues.
Yes, that's gonna be an ongoing saga. This is like their ploy of like drawing in the AAA crowds is like, hey, remember this feud you liked on
that thing that's happening in Mexico? What if you watched it on TV more in a different way?
Yeah. Hey, remember when Dario or no, not Dario, fuck, Alberto and fuck, dude's name, Tejano, Jesus. When Dario and Tejano had a feud on AAA, I remember.
Oh, and I forgot is that Aerostar and Drago had they're suddenly in the best of 5 for the unique opportunity that we don't know about yet, but I'm sure we can trust whatever it is.
Fight each other again for some reason.
That's the best of 5 matches. It's 1-1, and so they have 3 more matches to go. I mean, technically they could have 2 more matches, but let's be honest. In a wrestling best of series, it always goes to the last match. It never ends early.
You mean to tell me there's narrative forces at work to make it as gripping as possible?
I hate to inform you that wrestling is not real.
My entire life has been shattered by this sudden revelation. How could you do this to me?
Sorry, not sorry. So that covers everything that has happened. Where we're at in Lucha Underground right now, where we're going. And so, if you want to watch Lucha Underground season 1, episode 17-18, along with the entirety of the show, you can watch it at Tubi.tv. It's like Netflix but free, in that it is set up like Netflix and has different content, of course, but also it's completely free. All you have to do is set up an account, and it's free with ads.
Highly recommend. It's good shit, and this is like one of the few things of ours that we do that you can watch totally free.
Yep.
So do it by all means. Lucha's great, and following along with us is also great.
Yes, it is. It's a very fun show. But yes, we will now go watch episode 17-18, and we're back for the back half.
Yee.
And we are back. We have just finished watching episodes 17 and 18 of Lucha Underground Season 1. Those were a war started in Mexico and no escape.
Yeah. Really interesting batch of episodes for a couple of reasons. A lot of straight up storyline advancement. One thing conspicuously missing. And some very, I think, interesting matches to talk about all around.
Yeah, so where do you want to start on this?
Oh boy!
First of all, to be fair, if we went in order, we'd hit probably the most consistent story beat, like the biggest story thing to talk about.
I do
Phoenix Muertes stuff, but
I will say before we start off with that, I do want to give a quick shout out to what's missing in that.
Okay.
Just from the get-go, something that surprised me was we didn't really have any Black Lotus bits in either of these episodes. They're really going for the hard tease on this thing, and it's kind of killing me.
Yeah, after several weeks of this like consistent story progression on that, they've taken 2 weeks off from it, and I was a little surprised to see nothing at all. I was kind of expecting even a little bit of an explanation of what's going on with her.
Even just like something, right, where we see like just like, you know, she walks from the car to some shady warehouse or some shit, and it's like, I've been waiting for you, but like nothing.
Yeah. Or we get some hint of what Mr. Mystery Man, that I know the name of, is doing. Like why he took her from the car, but no, we didn't want to know anything.
What's really funny to me is like I started off like being really surprised at just how quickly that storyline was progressing, because that seems like big some huge mystery to set up, and I'm like, damn, they're just powering through like week after week, and then they just straight up take 2 weeks off. So after I finally started to get used to like the weirdly consistently quick pace of the progression of this story, all of a sudden it just decides to vibe out for a couple episodes.
Maybe they also knew that we were going fast here.
Yeah, they're like, damn, we can't let them have too much fun. I mean, that's got to be it, right? Like they're tormenting us with this shit. So yeah, surprising lack of Black Lotus in this in both of these episodes. So that's real interesting.
Yeah, after such a major part of last week's our last episode's kind of story beats, like consistent story beats for 2 episodes. It's nothing. It's very, very odd to look at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's missing. So next up, I mean, we can kind of go in order of like not even just matches, but like arcs here, because the first big thing that kind of carries through is Mil Muertes versus Phoenix is still a thing, and oh boy, is it heating up.
It's getting very serious now.
I will say, like, all of a sudden the all these like Austin, I just like fixating constantly on the kink relationship of Mil and Catrina. All of a sudden, like, that's just playing such a backseat to things are getting real spicy. I'm
very happy about it, because while I'm not uncomfortable with the kink with the DS stuff, in the same way that I'm uncomfortable with another thing we're going to talk about, I also feel ill-equipped to talk about it. So it's like we're moving into territory that I'm much more comfortable talking about from an analytic point of view.
Yeah, well, I mean like, there's not much to talk about there. It's just like surface level shit anyway. But like, but regardless, it's just nice to have something else to fixate on with this storyline finally.
Yeah, thank God.
Like we're moving past the weird relationship drama that's going on, which it was fun. It was diverting. I'm glad we have more substance now.
Yes.
So yeah,
let's get back to murder. Which is what the theme of where we're going. So let's backtrack to what happens. So we kind of open the episode 17 with Mil Muertes and Phoenix in a rematch. Initially, Catrina is not there for either competitor. You know, it's a very solid match between Phoenix and Muertes. They have a nice chemistry and formula down for how they're going to work together, and we get to see more of that there.
I will say this one wasn't the most exciting for me to watch. Something about it didn't feel like quite as engaging. Maybe it's just because like we've been here before.
That might be it, and they also might have known that, like, you know, it's that classic of like this is more of the tea, it's more of the tease because of what's coming next.
Yeah. But I mean, with all this history, it was nice to see. And they do a good job, you know, making it work, even if I wasn't like super gripped by it or anything.
No, I would agree with that too.
And then of course Catrina shows up.
And then Catrina arrives with her rock, and she initially doesn't, and she to her credit, she does not get involved in the match at all.
Yeah.
Like, she shows up with the rock, but she otherwise stays out of it and lets it end where Muertes kind of just murks poor Phoenix. He does a code breaker off the top rope and then hits him with the flatliner.
Yeah, Mil finally catches a dub, which is nice. Although I made the comment to Austin that I feel, and we'll kind of, you know, explore this more as we just continue to go down the rabbit hole of this arc. It feels to me a lot like the monsterness of Mil Muertes has been lessened recently. Like, he's lost a lot of matches, first off, because I remember early on he did feel like a legitimate threat. Now he feels a lot more vulnerable. Like, he got a dub against Phoenix, but it didn't feel like a super impressive dub or a particularly like triumphant one. Well, triumphant as you can get for a heel. It felt like, yeah, okay, cool. He got the dub, and, you know, it's just they're evenly matched and whatever. And the way they show Catrina starting to like stand up to him more, and gain a certain psychological power over him. He's becoming a lot more vulnerable. And I think it's a really interesting angle to take a monster character. I've never really seen that done before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's kind of interesting. Yeah, I agree. He's showing more vulnerability. Well, I think also it's not really sacrificing his. I personally don't think it's sacrificing his viability as a threat. It feels more. It feels. I mean, a little bit, but it feels more like it adds dimensions to him more than it takes away from his strengths, which I think is an issue that you see in wrestling a lot with monster characters, in that they struggle to transition out of being the unstoppable monster that is just like, roar, I will crush you.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, they struggle to transition out of that storyline because that you obviously can't do that forever. And I feel like Lucha Underground is adding dimensions to Mil without necessarily making him look completely ineffectual.
I can see that. And I mean, I can imagine that's why they gave him the dub here. I guess for me, what I imagine when it comes to Mil, like, because I've talked a lot with Mil losing a lot of matches, it feels like waiting for the other shoe to drop, right? And this still didn't feel like that other shoe dropping. It felt like, you know, okay, that happened. For me, what that looks like is Mil just having this utter, like, monster rage out moment. He just hits a breaking point and just drives his opponent into the ground and maybe just literally fucking murders them. Like, that's what that looks like to me. It doesn't look like
we can do around here.
Yeah, apparently that's something Austin's teased me, is like, yeah, people are gonna actually die on this show, which is wild. But kayfabe die, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But so it's I have this very specific image of what that looks like. And the fact that we're not there yet while getting the dimensions added, it is I am interested to see how those extra dimensions might add to that moment if it ever comes.
I can't comment on this.
You can. I know.
I already know when and if that happens. So
yeah, well, because it is interesting to me, and it is effective. Let me add, I don't say he doesn't feel like a typical monster to me as a bad thing. I kind of like that this big ol' undead motherfucker is more vulnerable. It feels like a cool, like, AU Undertaker in a way, where, like, there's a lot more substance to that character. Not to shit on Undertaker at all. But
his character was very one-dimensional to start, because that's what wrestling was at the time. It's not really a criticism of him particularly.
Yeah, and it's not like it ever got, like, super deep or anything, at least not from what I've seen. But either way, like Mil, it's just really interesting to me to see this character that's, like, built up almost as, like, Lucha's answer to the Undertaker get taken in admittedly a really interesting, wildly different direction.
So what we needed was one of the other wrestlers to start macking on Paul Bearer. That's what you're saying that they needed.
You know what? If we got like canon gay Paul Bearer, I don't even care about how, like, tropey and stereotypical that would be, because, like, if you would think about Paul Bearer, like, being made canon gay and, like, how that matches up to his mannerisms and shit, it would be the most tropey, stereotypical thing ever, since he's so, like, flamboyant and the high-pitched voice and whatever. I don't even care. Just getting, like, that in 80s WWF would be the greatest thing I've ever seen ever.
That would have been wild, but no, of course. Anyway, back to Mil and Catrina.
So even in this match, that creates for this interesting dynamic where Mil doesn't feel unstoppable. He feels vulnerable. He feels human. He feels like he's not on his game. And it's because he's, you know, there's something wrong in his life and is messing with him, and so it just makes for an interesting dynamic. Like, yes, on one hand, it makes the match not as exciting because, like, human Mil is a weird thing to see, but it still kind of works. And then we get at the end of the match, Catrina comes up to the ring for some reason, and Mil is like, lick the body, and she's like, no. He flips her over the top rope and tries to force her, and then up pops Phoenix to start attacking Mil for daring to disrespect woman.
It feels very. It is a bit of a rehash of what happened with Chavo and taken in a slightly different direction to the end here of where, when he drags Catrina in, she drops the rock.
Yep.
Which this episode reminded us what that rock means, and we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
And so Phoenix picks up the rock, clunks Muertes in the head with it, and takes him down, and then Catrina does the extra long lick on.
I know.
It's like a body shot lick. Like she starts down in his down near his navel and licks all the way up to his face, and it's the super lick. And then she kisses Phoenix right after doing that.
I did kind of have this thought while watching her body shot lick. Look at me, I'm the top now. I had this thought of like, man, poor Catrina, like having to, as part of her job, lick the very sweaty bodies of dudes who just got like done fighting a wrestling match. That doesn't feel great.
She's yeah. And those are real licks, of course, as you'd expect. She's like,
the tongue makes direct contact.
Yeah, no,
we're not
faking the licking.
Yeah, you can tell there's some tactile shit there. It's so great. So regardless of the sanitary implications, kisses Phoenix, all is well. And then do we get anything else with them until the next episode?
I don't think so, because I think both bits that they do that she has with Phoenix and Mil are in episode 18.
Yeah.
So
yes.
So first she visits Phoenix, and she's like, Mil is the man of 1,000. Yeah, like she makes more references to him being the man of 1,000 lives, as I've referenced many times on this show. How supernatural you're supposed to think Phoenix is kind of varies, but it never feels more literal that he's a phoenix of some sort than when Catrina is involved. She plays him very literally, like he has 1,000 magical lives.
I mean, he's directly involved with a ghost and a zombie. What do you expect in order for him to play ball, right?
That's fair. But Catrina is like, Mil will not stop until he has every single one of them. And she's like, there's only one way this is going to end. You need to bury him. It's like, okay.
Return him to the ground whence he came.
She wants her current boyfriend to murder her ex. Okay. Yeah. And then she ghost disappears while Phoenix is contemplating, I guess, having to kill a man.
I know. Again, the level of Phoenix just kind of like sometimes shrugging and going along with it is really funny to me. If he's just like, okay, guess I'm doing this shit now.
I guess this is where my life is at.
Yeah, okay, man, why not, right? For Catrina, sure, why not? She's hot.
Yeah. And then we get Mil Muertes in the bathroom.
Probably my favorite video package we've seen between these two episodes, I think.
It was a really fun video package where he's angsting in the mirror, and then Catrina pops in and she gives us a nice little reminder of his backstory.
Yeah,
which David hasn't seen. I have, and I just told him about it. But we get a reminder.
I do appreciate. It made things a little bit easier.
Yeah, we were reminded that their backstory is that when Mil was but a child, his entire town was destroyed in a vicious, powerful earthquake, and in the rubble, death came to him, and by death she means her, and they have been chilling together ever since. So that's why I call her the magic ghost lady, and I call him basically an undead zombie person, because he basically died and as a child when in the earthquake.
I will say we do get a flashback
the implication
to, like, him,
of it.
we do get a flashback to him as a child, and I love just like the very like quick and dirty makeup job they did on the kid to be like, this child has just emerged from rubble. Like literally, it's just like rectangular streaks. Like there's one of like brown across one cheek. There's like some black or silver on his forehead. It's very like it, and like they slightly put bags under his eyes. I think maybe.
Oh yeah.
Like it's just very very like. Yeah, okay, we get it. If it's not high production value here, whatever, welcome to watching anything made by Rob Rod.
We're just running. We're just quick and dirty here.
Yeah, come on. We're burning daylight. Yeah, but it is this great thing. One thing I found really interesting about it was at the very beginning. We see him like adjusting his mask, like presumably putting it on after like washing his face or something. So it is interesting to me, and we do see like obviously child him isn't wearing a mask. It'd be really funny if he emerged from the rubble fucking wearing the
that's the mask as well. It's the mask of death. Like he wears the mask of death, and that's like
no, it's just a strong bad thing. It's his face. Yes. But anyway, so that's kind of, I almost wonder if like between that and, him readjusting, I wonder if those two are kind of meant to be like, parallel symbolism of like, there is still somebody under this like mask that represents a monster. So it was this kind of cool touch of like, oh shit, yeah, there is like a dude under there. And he looks, the entire time Catrina's talking to him, he looks deeply troubled by it all. He seems worried. Again, that vulnerability shining through is a really cool dimension to see in his character that I do really appreciate.
Yeah, and she kind of turns around a lot of his own like shtick on him, where she's like, you need to beat Phoenix or death will come for you. 1,000 deaths will come to you, Mil Muertes.
Yeah.
And she explicitly names drops there will be grave consequences. Which I'll go ahead and tell you what that match is. You could probably piece it together from context, but what it is this is going to be a casket match.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or at least like the Lucha Underground Mil Muertes Phoenix rivalry equivalent of a casket match.
Yes, where the winner will bury the other in a casket. And in Lucha Underground, I probably will reference this again next time, but in Lucha Underground lore, putting someone in a casket is symbolically death.
Like, oh shit.
You die if you go in a casket.
Oh my god.
So like this is going to be intense. It's this. We are jumping to death now.
That's really interesting. It is gonna be interesting to see how that narratively plays out, because it could go either way, and I could see it working. I love how much I get to say that about this show.
Mil Muertes, what's one more death? He's already 1,000. And Phoenix, he's got 1,000 lives. He should be fine.
That's true. Yeah, I suppose like
he'll pop back out.
Yeah, for either of them, like this isn't like this doesn't seem like it's gonna be like a total permadeath sort of thing. Just they maybe need to take an extended nap. There's
gonna be a little death. It's gonna be an uncomfortable feeling for a little bit.
Treat.
Yeah, a little death as a treat. You just got to get through it.
But seriously, I do really like now the advancement of the narrative we're getting. I especially like too, like in the Mil video package, for as much as you and I have memed about like his relationship with Catrina, the way it was framed and the way it was blocked, it did finally give Catrina some sort of visual dominance over Mil. He's hunched over, she's standing upright. We see this great shot of her like tracing her fingers along his back, and it does feel very like she's in control, as like, she's the one on top in this shot. And just like the slow controlled way she's moving her hand. It felt very well done visually, and I really appreciated what a well put together package that was. And again, immediately gone without a trace, leaving Mil alone with his thoughts.
Kapoof.
Yeah,
she just poofs. She poofs out of existence.
After go for
She
it.
weirdly never does this during in-ring matches or anything, but don't know why. But backstage, she loves poofing out of existence.
She does. I am surprised when Mil got her in the chokehold, she didn't just poof out of that one. But whatever.
I have a story theory, but I think we need to move a little further deeper before I mention anything about that.
That's fair. Yeah, her corporealness seems weirdly inconsistent, but I'm sure there's like shit. If you have a story reason, I'm sure that's gonna be part of it. Anyway, but either way, yeah. I am really looking forward to seeing like how the rest of this advances. So
Yep. I'm just very excited about next time because this is I remember Phoenix and Mil Muertes being very, very well acclaimed when it happened. So I'm very excited to get to talk about this next, but that's for next time.
Exciting.
So, the next arc would be Rick and Sexy Star.
I will say we got a lot of like episode 17. Was a lot seemed to be a lot more video package than usual.
Oh yeah, they were throwing out a lot of story stuff.
Yeah, we only had like what 2 or 3 matches in that one.
We still only had 3 matches, but like they were filling in a lot of stuff out backstage as opposed to in the ring.
Yeah, but yeah, so Sexy Star versus Big Rick happens, and so we get a little reminder of what's going on, and then we get to the match. And it's like a weird parallel almost to the it starts off at least like a weird parallel to the Angelico Ivelisse match we got last time.
I did see that as well.
Rick starts off being like, "No, I don't want to like hurt you. Just get down. Let me deal with the crew, please." And Sexy Star, of course, is like, "No, fuck you, penis haver. Let me prove myself."
I think it is thankfully a different dynamic of Angelico and Ivelisse has the weird dynamic of like Angelico wants to have sex with her, which we'll get to that. But whereas Big Rick and Sexy Star, it 100% feels like Rick being like, if I have to fight you, I will destroy you. And I don't really want to do that. So just let me win and we can move on. But
it does feel too like slightly disrespectful in a way, like he doesn't see her as a particular like entity that needs to be given the in-ring respect. Like he's just like, no, this is my business, go away. He almost seems like annoyed with her.
A little bit, but to be fair, the story of the match plays big into like their literal size differences.
Yeah, that's true.
At least with Ivelisse and Angelico, they're a lot closer together in terms of size. Mm-hmm. Whereas like Rick is gigantic, is a big man, and Sexy Star is an average sized athletic woman. So like the story is that like Rick is fucking big, man.
I know. I mean, I will say I do appreciate.
And so she can do some stuff to Rick, but especially her usual offense, not doing nothing.
I mean, I will say, like, I do appreciate, again, as a parallel to Angelico versus Sexy Star Ivelisse last time, is that Rick does get baited into, like, attacking her back. Like, he's like, fine, I don't got time for this.
He's like, all right, I mean,
like,
you asked for this.
Yeah, I appreciated that. I appreciated that it was both like tactical and emotional for him. Like he's like, all right, I just gotta end this, sure. But he also does seem like pissed off that she's just like not quitting. There's this great moment where she slaps him and his head comes back and does that sort of like, oh, you just made a huge mistake for doing that.
Like, yeah, and then he like immediately, I'm pretty sure he immediately lifts her up for the Uranagi that he's gonna slam her down.
Yeah.
Before he decides, like, you know what? No, I'm not gonna do it this way. But yeah, Sexy Star gets in nice bursts of offense to kind of like show that she still is capable here.
She does. Like, she even does get an attempted pinfall on Rick, and I really liked it. The way he escapes is not kicking out. He literally just throws her off.
Oh yeah, he just chucks her off, and he's like, okay.
I love getting to see little unique touches like that. This
No.
was something I can't remember if it was during the Big Rick fight I noted this or if it was during a different fight. I do really appreciate, and I've said this before, but I just want to highlight again. I really appreciate how unique, how differentiated Lucha Underground can make everything feel. No two matches feel the same. Even like, even the most like, even something like, you know, the Phoenix Mil Muertes fight we just talked about that I didn't find like the most exciting thing in the world. It's still like, you know, flippy boy Phoenix versus, you know, big dude Mil Muertes, and of course they each bring their own thing to it. Flippy things always are just find really creative. Flippy boys always find creative ways of going about their fighting, and it's always cool to watch you know, bigger, less agile dudes try to like find workarounds to that. So this is one of those things. Again, they play into the physicality well and keep everything feeling fresh. None of this feels stale.
Yeah. I think Lucha Underground does a fantastic job of like playing with like understanding the physical sizes of everybody and like accentuating that in ways that make sense while also making it feel like anybody can win. Like,
absolutely. Well, I mean, I think that's part of why it feels so unique is because it does have that like everybody can win. It doesn't feel like everybody can win because it's just two dudes that feel kind of samey doing similar things to each other. It feels like anybody could win because the story's done well enough that like either outcome could, you know, could turn out well. And because each guy is so, or each competitor is talented enough in ring that you could see either of them being like physically justified in winning.
Yeah. And it's about it feels more closer to legitimate athletic contests in some way of like this match. Rick and Sexy Star, I think, plays this out the best of any of the episodes on this show of these two episodes of like Rick's being just that much more massive is a huge part of the match and is what the dynamic is about. That like Sexy Star is smaller, significantly so she has to come up with different ways to take him down than she might otherwise do, and she does that by attacking the legs, using her speed and quick and technical skill to bring him down, whereas he can just kind of like throw her around because he is that strong.
It is really, I always get a huge kick out of like when the big old boys get hit and just don't react to it. We got a few great shots of that here. I loved watching Rick get slapped across his chest and just be like, okay.
Okay, I guess that's how we're going to do this, huh?
That's one of those things for me that's like, it's a small grace will just not really ever get old, I don't think. It's just a nice little like touch a lot of the times.
Yeah, so it ends with he goes for his big slam, the Uranagi, and then he decides instead of destroying her, it's like an act of almost mercy.
Yeah,
where he instead just sets her down and physically holds her shoulders down for 3.
Yep, which let me say, the little character touches like that. I don't know how likely this is to happen. You obviously already know the answer. God, do I want to see a big Rick and Sexy Star tag team? Oh my God, do I want to see that?
I mean, I feel like there are seeds planted for that thing to work, because then we get to the real story, I think, is after.
Well, yeah.
Here comes the crew to fight him to try to take out his other eye.
Mm-hmm.
And for a while there, they have an advantage, but Sexy Star, even though Rick beat her and was admittedly a little condescending to her during the match, she still was like, "No, this ain't right. This ain't cool. 3-on-1. I'm fighting these guys." Yeah.
I mean, I will say, I feel like part of that, I feel like there's a part of a dimension to that that's just Sexy Star being like, "Hey, no, I want a piece of them. Get over here.
Get over here, I'm fighting you." The crew is able to do what they do and overwhelm her with numbers. And
she stands up for herself pretty well. Like they do definitely like kind of at the end of the day have the upper hand, but she does a really good job at holding her own for an impressive period of time.
Yeah, she does. And I guess more importantly, she gives Rick time to recover.
Yeah.
And once Rick is in the fight, then he wrecks house on all of the crew.
And all of a sudden, they're not so tough anymore.
Yep.
Yeah. They're all of a sudden just like, no, but I'm out of here, baby.
Like, you know what? We'll get you next time. We're out of here.
Yeah. Not so tough anymore, are you? He also pulls off his eye patch to show that this is serious business, TM.
He acts like he doesn't need the eye patch, even though he still acts like his eyes hurt.
Yeah, I don't.
So he clearly still needs the eye patch, but
yeah, I don't totally get that. But like, you know what? He's in a rage. I'll forgive it.
We're doing some chest beating here stuff.
Yeah,
here. Like trying to show how macho tough he is. You don't need that eye patch when you definitely still need the eye patch.
Absolutely. So yeah. So that goes down. I can't wait to see how that plays out.
Yeah, and then we get the main event of their first episode: Tejano versus Alberto el Patron. It kind of starts at the very start of episode 17 when Alberto is in the office, and Dario he's like, I want Tejano, and Dario's like, oh no. Okay. What if I put you with Ricky Mandel? And he's like, no, Tejano. And he's like, well, I forget who he offered.
Famous B.
He offers famous B. Poor famous B. Whose arm should still be broken.
They both didn't. Ricky Mandel also face down against Pentagon Jr.
I think so.
Yeah. Why is he offering the broken arm dudes to Alberto?
Got to give him the easy dubs.
Yeah, I almost wonder, like, that has to be Dario fucking with him, right? Like you don't list off those two people who are currently like out on medical leave for no reason.
Like it does have this sense of like he wants Alberto to be mad, because of how long he fights him on it, and he's like, no, Tejano, and he's like, fine, you can fight Tejano, but give it a week or two. You know, I gotta promote the match here, and he's like, no, Tejano tonight, and he literally throws everything off of Dario's desk. Dario's like, fine.
Yeah. He gets really mad about it, and Dario's like, okay, fine, whatever. I think that is a good idea. All of a sudden, Tejano versus Alberto doesn't sound all that bad to me.
Yeah, you know what? After some further consideration, I like the idea.
Yeah. And Alberto leaves and whatever. And we get a nice recap of, like, again, this is a long-standing feud of theirs. Not only is it between them, it was between their fathers too. It's a whole thing.
Yeah, and then we have the match, and I liked it. They show.
Oh,
I think they do a good job of showing this kind of like we literally hate each other.
Yeah, no,
it's
I mean, that's one of those matches that, like, just the main adjective I would go to describe it the entire way through is intensity. They're definitely locked in the entire time and are trying. It seems like they do a good job of portraying like these are two guys who are really trying to hurt each other. They do not like each other.
Like this is like we're not doing it's not just like we're competing in a fight in a match against each other. So there's some level of like harm that will happen, but we're still respectful. Like they're like fuck this guy. I'm gonna hurt him.
Yeah, exactly. Which is cool to see.
Yeah, and as David mentioned, they do a good package to kind of like give Alberto's history. I laugh that like he still talks about his time in WWE, but they phrase it as being in the US, and they show no footage from his time in WWE, even when he's talking about that.
Yeah, I know.
Like I get why, because they don't own the rights to show any of that footage, but it's just really funny that like even when they're talking about WWE, they're just showing stuff from AAA.
Yeah, look, we gotta have our workarounds. All right, money's tight around here. Did we also get the Puma promo before the match?
I kind of want to talk about that as a separate thing because it's
Okay.
more Puma's arc than
fair.
Alberto and Tejano.
Yeah.
But Alberto and Tejano, they have the match, and eventually it ends with Tejano brings the bull rope into it. He does that. He does a very classic heel shtick of like he takes the corner pad, turnbuckle pad off in front of the referee, and the referee's like, "Hey man, what are you doing? You can't do that." And he's like, okay. And so while the referee is taking the time to put the turnbuckle pad back on, Tejano grabs his bull rope and then starts hitting Alberto with it. But eventually this leads to Alberto getting an opportunity to fight back. But now the bull rope is just lying around now. And he's like, I'm gonna hit him with it. And the ref's like, don't you do it. And he's like, I'm gonna do it. And then Alberto does it, and which means Tejano wins by DQ. But Alberto beats the piss out of him with that bull rope.
And let me emphasize too, because this is something I like noticed like while watching. He ain't faking those hits. He is actually hitting this dude like IRL with a bull rope, and like you could see there's like a 2-second close up on him, and Tejano legitimately has like marks on him from where Al Patron hit him.
Like the way they do it is he whips the rope, and he's technically like the end of the rope is hitting in front of where Tejano is, but the body of the rope is still hitting Tejano.
Honestly, with something like that, it doesn't matter though. It's not like a traditional whip where the whole point is like the tip of it reaches the speed of sound or whatever. That's not this. Like no matter what part of that thick thing you're hitting him with, it's gonna freaking hurt. So like just again, I love taking some time every now and then to just marvel at the like physical degradation that these fighters will put themselves through in the name of this entertainment. Like legitimately, just they will torture themselves sometimes, and like their ability to withstand. I mean, healthcare and everything in the wrestling industry as a whole.
That's a whole
got a whole can of worms. But like the resilience here, for as much as there is a lot of like yuck about what they're made to endure and how it's responded to, God, sometimes it is just really impressive what these guys are willing to endure for their craft. And this is one of those things where each hit I'm just like, ow, ow, ow.
Yeah, no, and that's what Tejano was feeling as well. Ow,
yeah,
ow,
IRL
ow.
Actually.
And so it kind of is as Alberto El Patron. He stands tall, but Tejano may have got the W, but I don't think he was the real winner here.
Yeah, it was he definitely lost. I mean, that was immediately like as soon as the match ended, I'm like, okay, yeah, Q Del Patron. Or wait, no. Well, obviously the match ended with the DQ, but like as soon as the bull rope went down, you're like, oh yeah, we know where this is going. Like,
yeah.
As one of my high school teachers once put it, a win is a win, but a psychological loss is a psychological loss.
Yeah, this was the psychological loss.
Yeah, and this is definitely a psychological loss. So something you talking about the heel tactic earlier, that was something I kind of was thinking about while we were watching. Is Tejano undoes the turnbuckle. It was really I remember noticing that the ref saw it, and I was like, oh, hey, that's really refreshing, because I've seen multiple matches in a row where someone undoes it and the ref doesn't see, and like it takes a comical amount of time for the ref to notice it if he even does.
Yeah, even though you're missing a turnbuckle pad.
Yeah,
even a cursory glance at the ropes is going to show it that it's missing.
Basic pattern recognition, right?
Yeah.
But regardless, I was for a second I was like, man, it's really refreshing to see that the refs are actually catching this. That's so great. And then the ref starts putting the turnbuckle pad back on. I was like, oh god damn it. It
was all part of a longer plan.
Good grief, I've been hornswoggled. Yeah, so it was fun overall. God, I keep wanting to say Del Rio. Al Patron. I try to be accurate to where we are.
Yeah,
Al Patron.
use their current names.
continues to be a fun anti-hero slash edgy face sort of guy who I really get a kick out of. So yay.
So that was the main event of episode 17, but there is one more thing that happens in 17 that I think is worth mentioning before we move on to the stuff that was mostly in 18 is we had a little bit of stuff with Puma and Konnan. More of Konnan, weirdly enough. Where,
we get not one but 2 video packages promoting
across
Konnan.
2 episodes.
Yeah, seriously.
Where Konnan gets the badass video package where he's standing in the warehouse and it's pouring rain. Patch the roof or something, or close the windows, or like it's flooding the warehouse. But he's standing there stoically, just preparing to kick some ass. And they have like corny phrases pop up on screen. And that I didn't write down, but I wish I had, because they were pretty silly. And
okay, here's the thing. I was kind of into it.
I kind of was too, but I was like, I should have written these down to make fun of them later. But yeah, it ends with the stinger of Konnan. Revenge is coming.
Yeah,
and then the second one is the more of the first, but then it also shows him like welding a new cane because he broke. They show him he broke his last one on the back of Cage, and so he welds a new cane because I guess he's just that good with metalworks. And he like stands there with a bunch of like randos,
as you do, by the way, in a Lucha Underground video package. Very par for the course.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that in El Patron's video package, he also beats up some that tells his history. He also beats up some randos in a dojo.
Yeah.
They're just some sort.
For some reason, they just really like that trope.
No, they love it, and it's only going to get sillier in my book of the contexts of which this happens in this. But anyway, so Konnan just stand there. I kind of expected him to start beating people's asses, but he doesn't. And so that is, we get Konnan's like intense video packs as if the story is about him now.
I mean, I don't hate that. Like, it does feel cool to have like some sort of like Konnan villain mode tease after all this shit where like it's just been this slow buildup of like, man, he treats Puma really weird. Like that's something I noticed from the first episode of this we watched, was like how hard he pushes Puma in ring. And at first I was like, you know, this could be like this, he's like actually a problem, or it could just be like, you know, he's just really pushing Puma. Like I saw it more of like, you know, if they do something with this, it's gonna be like, you know, the coach is a toxic influence just because he's like trying to live his life vicariously through Puma, is, you know, whatever, he needs to learn his lesson. But now it's like, no, he's kind of going like kind of super villain mode, like that cane welding sequence. God, that cane welding sequence felt like it came out of like a fucking Marvel movie. Like you know what, you know the sequence I'm talking about. When Iron Man's in the cave. Like, well, the characters like at their lowest, they've been beaten down, and then they had their big like soul searching moment. And then they realize like, I do want to be in this fight, and then they go and construct like the ultimate version of their suit or their weapon or whatever. This was that, just minus all the character centric build up to this point. We haven't seen like Konnan doing that, like, you know, soul searching or whatever, but for the most part it was just that. It was great.
I mean, he was clearly soul searching in the flooding warehouse when he was just standing there. So that happens. We also get in episode 17, we also get a video package with Puma where old Puma is punching a heavy bag as he do. And then El Patron shows up and it's kind of like, hey, kid. And he's like, you should watch my match tonight and see my aggression, because you're going to need to step up if you're going to want to to keep that title to beat Cage. And then he threatens him with like, if you beat Cage, I'm next.
Yeah. I mean, like, I get it. Like if on one hand it was like a slight letdown, because like up till now, like, El Patron's been like this unequivocal babyface for me here of like of like, yeah, he's got some aggro issues, but on the whole, like, it's so cool to just see him here and treated with so much more respect. And I've gone on about this before, but here he's like now being a dick to Puma, and like at first I was like, no, I want to like you, but also taking a second to think about it, like it makes sense for the character they built up for him. He is aggressive, and he does really want the things that he wants, and he does still have that like ego, that slight heelish ego on him, and like, you know, he understands what a kind of icon he is around here, and he obviously feels entitled to it. So like it works, and I was able to pretty quickly roll into accepting him as more of like a slightly like, you know, a bit more of a dickish anti-hero sort of figure.
Yeah. That's where he's at. So moving into these matches of episode 8, we start with Pentagon Jr. making another sacrifice to his Dark Master.
True.
Be in a match with Arhennis, but it was a much more competitive match than what we've seen so far.
Oh yeah, that was really interesting. Is that Arhennis actually put up a fight and actually touched Pentagon Jr. rather than just like Pentagon spends 30 seconds being dominant and then breaks the motherfucker's arm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense in that Arhennis is still kind of a jobber and that I don't think he's ever won a match. But he's always been portrayed as more like competitive and skilled than what his win-loss record might imply. And certainly at a higher level than like the schlubs that Pentagon has beaten up so far of Ricky Mandel, Famous B, and Vinny Massaro.
But like even then, like, oh, well, maybe it wasn't. Maybe Ricky Mandel wasn't someone that Pentagon faced off against. Now that you said that, because I just remembered like one dude with a normie name.
I remember. I know it's Vinny Massaro because that was the last one, and then I'm pretty sure I think it's Ricky and Famous B. But let me briefly go back here.
Let's see. Ricky Mandel versus Pentagon Jr.
Oh no, okay, yeah, it's just those. Oh yeah, he did beat Mandel. Yeah, it has been Ricky.
It was on 2015. Okay, cool.
Yep.
This is yet another squash for Pentagon. Whatever. Yeah, no. I mean, I've talked before. I talked. I think maybe it was even last time about how a lot of the time Lucha like tricks you into thinking jobbers aren't actually jobbers, which is cool. So we've already gone over that. But kind of the observation I made while we were watching, that I'm not entirely sure, like if I feel like this is the totally correct take to have, but like it was something that came to mind is like it was kind of cool, at least like in terms of like having a compelling match. After 2 weeks of establishing Pentagon as like a total threat, like yeah, he can just kick someone's ass and whatever, like you just break their arm. To have an actually somewhat competitive match, it was nice. It was a nice change of pace. It doesn't just feel like every single week we're going to do Pentagon being dominant for 30 seconds and breaking the arm.
Yeah,
he still breaks the arm at the end. He still ends up dominant, but it takes a little longer this time. And like on one hand, on a story level, that doesn't make total sense because Pentagon's supposed to be like this like crazy super villain who like can't be touched, and so the fact that he actually gets knocked around a little bit here feels a little like on one hand story inconsistent, but like from an athletic standpoint, it is nice to see a slightly more competitive match with Pentagon.
Mm-hmm. And I think it makes Arhennis look better in being like the first guy in a while since this new run of Pentagon Jr. to like make him sweat a little bit.
Well, I mean, that's something that's almost like a theme I feel like we've accidentally stumbled upon for these 2 episodes is like just how much a win or loss can affect somebody's perceived power level. I mean, again, we talked about Mil Muertes versus Phoenix and how all of a sudden, even with the dub that he got, Mil feels a lot more human, a lot more vulnerable. That power level has been diminished. Doesn't feel the right word because that feels like dismissive, but it's been brought down a couple pegs. Same here. Pentagon doesn't really lose power level here. He still does the thing, and it's still like always scary to see somebody's arm get fake broken by him. But Arhennis holding his own against Pentagon Jr. all of a sudden, like by default, just raises Arhennis' power level because, like, oh my god, he actually like stood somewhat of a chance against Pentagon Jr. At least more than his previous compatriots.
More than more. He did better than the last few guys who tried.
Yeah, exactly.
But don't worry, broken arms came for him in the end.
Yeah, true.
And
no tables this time, unfortunately.
No, I didn't need the table. It all kind of fell apart when he tried to do a springboard thingamadoo, and Pentagon just straight up drop kicked him in the chest while he mid air. And then from there it was he does the open hand chop to the chest. And then he hit him with the package pile driver. And then he puts him in the arm bar. And Argenis gives up. But oh no. Like, I'm still going to break your arm. Yeah. Even though you already submitted.
Well, yeah, of course. Like he can't just go without breaking the arm. Come on now. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so we did that, and the master has had yet another femur sacrifice to him or whatever. I don't know, Bones. Femur's a leg bone, isn't it? I don't fucking.
It is. Femur is femur. Wow. Femur is like the biggest bone in the leg.
Wow. David just chugged his dumb bitch juice today. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Anyway. Anywho, so yeah, we did that. More bone for Bone God. And then yeah, fucking Ivelisse and Angelico. Let's do it.
Okay. So this technically started in 17, where they were in Dario's office, and Ivelisse is pitching her case for a shot at the title off the back of one win over Angelico, who hasn't really picked up that many wins.
Blown the hell up.
And Dario is not buying this shit at all. He's like, no, not really. And he even like jokes on her catchphrase when she's like, "I'm the baddest bitch in the building." He's like, yeah, I know your thing. I love that trait about Dario, is when like wrestlers try to use their like catchphrase on him. He's like, yes, I know.
Yeah, he's like, please God, I'm the one who hired you. You think we haven't been over this a zillion times?
I know this already. But so he's like, look, last time you guys had a match, last time you and Angelico had a match. Excuse me, Angelico. I should use how Dario says it.
Yeah, why that bothered me.
David completely ignored my Angelico cats thing that I said during the show.
I not gonna lie, I missed it, and I hate that you made that joke now that I know you made it.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I spent a lot of time trying to think of other lyrics from that song that I've mostly bleached from my brain.
Because Angelicos do. Angelicos can.
What is an Angelico cat?
Yeah.
Anyway,
God.
So Dario is like, come on, man. There was a bunch of shit going down in that match. Barely legitimate as a win. So his solution to how are we going to stop Son of Havoc, or as he says it, Hijo de Havoc.
Yeah,
that's what I was thinking of, is that he offered Havoc to El Patron. And he didn't call him Son of Havoc. He called him Hijo de Havoc, which is technically still accurate, but not how Son of Havoc technically go. He uses English, not Spanish.
And also, like, that pronunciation is really fucked up. That was like like Hijo. I'm sorry, Hijo.
No, that's how that's pronounced.
No, it's
Hijo. Hijo.
It's Iho, dude.
Hmm?
It's Iho. You don't pronounce the H as Iho.
Come back to this.
My friend, I was in AP Spanish. It's Iho.
And I took 4 years of Spanish.
You said Hijo?
Now I need to go look into this some more, how this is pronounced in wrestling. I'm pretty sure in wrestling they say Hijo.
Oh, well, okay, in wrestling, sure. That's a different matter, but I've never heard Hijo before, so I'm like, what the fuck?
They need to bring in, instead of making everyone junior on this show, they need to give someone that pronunciation of their name so we can settle this.
Junior, yeah.
Anyway, so his recommendation for what to do with Son of Havoc is just put him in the match. And that Son of Havoc will be the special guest referee. And then Angelico
which is...
versus Ivelisse.
Oh boy.
Okay. So I told Dave, I told David when we watched, it's better and worse than the last time.
And I agreed. And I'm going to assume, even though we didn't discuss it all that much, that we're agreeing for the same reasons.
Well, I'll say my reasons why, and you can agree or disagree. So it's better in that there is more actual in-ring action. Angelico seems to do more wrestling stuff with Ivelisse. Like, it is not as much dumb bullshit.
Yeah.
However, it's worse because when there is dumb bullshit, it feels grosser, even grosser than before.
You took the words right the fuck out of my mouth, dude. Let me tell you.
Yeah, so let's run through the dumb shit. So the first thing he does is he grabs her hand and kisses it. And I was like, oh god. And then for a while they tricked me into thinking this was going to be a real match because they go a really long time without doing any more dumb nonsense. Like, I was kind of afraid when he grabbed her in like the belly to back position where his front is pushing into her back. I was afraid they were gonna do stuff with that, and they didn't. And I was like, oh my god, is this gonna be a real match? And then they start pinning. Okay. So I will say that throughout the match is sprinkled in that, like, Son of Havoc blatantly cheats to protect Ivelisse from getting hurt. I didn't mind that. It's about what I expected it to be.
I mean, it's so weird to see him like still simping for her, but like whatever.
Yeah, it's what I expect from Son of Havoc. And Ivelisse wasn't complaining. She'll take the freebies when she gets them.
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, and so anyway. So they go through this whole pinning combination shtick, and eventually it ends with her in. I can't really tell you what the technical name is, but it's basically she is sitting on his chest, on Angelico's chest, almost face. Mm-hmm. She pins him. He kicks out. As she's trying to stand up to do something else, he grabs her by the thighs and pushes her crotch back down onto him. And I'm like, oh god, okay, this is what we're doing now, huh? And then he ends up turning her pin around, and it almost looks, I don't know what it looks like because the camera cut away.
Yeah.
From the reaction to the crowd, you can kind of guess it was something sexual. Because to be clear, the crowd is having fun with this in a comedy way. Like, they take all this as like, haha, let's laugh at sex position. So I can't say what he did, but he did something because the crowd reacted to it. And Son of Havoc had that look on face of like, how dare you? But whatever it was, the editors didn't think it was okay to air. So we continue on, and I don't remember if they did anything else stupid. Not coming to mind. But then we get to the end of the match and how it ends. Eventually, Son of Havoc's bullshit pisses off Angelico, and he tries to super kick Son of Havoc, but Son of Havoc ducks and he hits Ivelisse instead.
Naturally.
And so at first he's kind of like, wait, what? I wasn't trying to do that. But then he sees an opportunity. And then he crawls on top of her like a sex position.
Yup.
And it's explicitly played that way because Son of Havoc quick counts 3 so that he has an excuse to push Angelico off of Ivelisse.
Seriously. That's
the explicit story of what that moment was. And yeah.
Doesn't feel great.
No, I complained about enough of this last time.
Yeah,
the same stuff. It's the same goddamn problem in that it feels weird and uncomfortable, and it doesn't even fit the story in a way that makes sense to me. Because Ivelisse has been the most consistent bad guy of this story, and yet she is also being played for sympathy because Angelico is the creepy pervert, and it's played for laughs to the audience. So
yeah, like the audience finds it charming. Like, why?
No.
Oh god, this shit's really uncomfy to watch. We bitched about it enough last week, but it just continues to be that, and it feels squicky, and like this one like really sore, like really uncomfy, unpleasant thing in the middle of all this stuff that I really enjoy. And like it also too, like I get it. I get what they're going for, but like every single match now ending with like some very stupid, like contrived reason for Ivelisse to start bitching out Son of Havoc again. Like every single time, it's always like it seems like it's gonna be okay, and then like one thing happens, and it's like usually like Ivelisse's fault, or like not like totally the fault of like Havoc or whatever, and it always just ends with like Ivelisse being like, "What the hell, bro? Why aren't you winning? It's just the same thing again." It's like,
but this time she has a total point in that
she does.
He interferes with him. She interferes in the match the whole time to the point that it eventually annoys her, and then he quick counts Angelico to get the win just so he has to get off his girlfriend.
Yeah, but again, she's inconsistent there too, because for a while she's enjoying the like preferential treatment. She's like, but like it's just like it feels so weird to be like to just keep being like, "Yup, here comes Ivelisse to give Son of Havoc more shit," and he's just gonna keep simping for her for some reason. I keep using that word. Maybe I'm overusing it, but that's just like what it feels like it is. Like
he's
like
extremely loyal to this woman who is absolutely who treats him like shit.
He's like, "That's my girl." Like, oh my god, dude, like, please stop. Can we move on? Like, I'm so tired of just
we're so close to getting to the better part of this whole arc. This is all part of a larger arc that I enjoy the back half of, but oh my god, please make it end. And it's
such an uncomfy slog. And I'm tired of disliking Angelico for this shit too.
Yeah, it's like ew. And it's like it feels like, as someone who is a defender of intergender wrestling, which is a whole big can of worms, for reasons I understand why it's a can of worms. Some of them, some reasons that people give about it, I don't really care for, but I also understand, like on a visceral, emotional level, why some people don't like it. But I still defend it as perfectly legitimate in the context of fake fucking wrestling.
Absolutely.
But it's matches like this match with Angelico and Ivelisse, and their last one too, that feels like the justification for people who don't like it. And it especially is annoying when we had an intergender match in the last, in episode 17, with Big Rick and Sexy Star, which you could also argue, I think you could argue is like bad. Like you could argue why that's bad too, but I think that one plays a lot better as like two legitimate competitors.
Yeah.
Who just happens to be one male and one female. Whereas this feels more exploitative and gross. And that's what some people think all intergender wrestling is. And so that's why I think that's another reason why I think on some level this pisses me off more. Is because it's already something that's a little controversial that I'm taking the side on, and this is proving the people who disagree with me on this right.
See, I would take a slightly different approach to that, in that, like, I think the main reason I see whenever gender politics in sports gets brought up, that people are uncomfy with it, is always just like, well, there's a physical disadvantage and they're not.
Yeah, okay, that stuff I don't listen. When people bring that up, I don't listen to that. That's stupid.
But unfortunately,
especially in the context of a fake sport.
But what I'm saying is, like, that's the lion's share of the reasons I see. Like, I don't tend to see a whole lot of people concerned trolling over, like, well, what if the guy sports person hits on the girl sports person? If anything, that's more that tends more toward like, oh, she's a distraction to him, which is its own other yuck thing. It almost feels to me like the way the Angelico Ivelisse fight plays out is like, it's, what's the way I want to describe it? It's like meme fodder for the people who are like viscerally uncomfy with intergender sports
Yep.
stuff. Like to say like, ain't it funny that she's getting that Angelico knows that this shouldn't be taken seriously, and ain't he just having a good old time just messing with her and macking on her, and yeah, it's stupid Ivelisse for wanting to fight man. Like that feels more like less like it feels to me like slightly less like a justification, just because I haven't seen a whole lot of like concern trolling about that sort of thing, and more like how people who do feel uncomfy with it would then want to portray it in the media they create, because like in order to like laugh at it, basically. To throw like an implicit level of like disrespect to the proceedings.
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and it's just even beyond the viscerally, and I don't want to downplay just in the general sense of how like pervy and gross that part is, because I don't want to make that sound like that's not important, and I'm only just looking at it from the perspective of like how it looks to the eyes of people who already don't like intergender wrestling. That part's also bad. But yeah, like it's just gross and I hate everything about it.
Yes, seriously.
It's like, why did this happen? Why do I have to keep seeing this?
God. Yeah. So that's all taken care of. And I think that's everything before the final headliner of episode.
Yeah, because we really, besides the Puma stuff, I don't think we had anything in this episode that didn't culminate in a match of some sort. So
yeah,
convenient for us. Makes it easy to remember whatever happened here. But yeah, so now we get to Johnny Mundo and King Cuerno, where at the end of episode 17, Cuerno is in Dario's office talking about this, and so they're like, and then Dario's like, all right, I've listened to you, listen to Cuerno. Everybody's sick of all of this, like just punching each other all over the arena stuff. So here's what I'm gonna do. So here we're gonna have a cage match to settle this next week. And I laughed my ass off at the way Dario introduces the idea of a cage, in that he says, in my experience, the best thing to do with someone is to stick them in a cage.
Yeah.
And which is a clear reference to the Matanza stuff that he's doing. In the Black Lotus arc. And it's like, oh my God, like you brazen asshole.
Yeah. Like he's so cheeky. I love it. I will always love it.
I do too. And so Dario offers Cuerno a cage match, and Cuerno he says that he will decapitate Mundo and mount Mundo's head on Dario's wall, which seems extreme. We can't be totally sure how metaphorical how much of that is a metaphor, and how much we're literally going to do it.
There's a point which I could see Dario having a taxidermied human head on his wall.
Yeah, it fits him.
Yeah, it really does. The evil bastard. Anyway, so yeah, cage match. It's gonna happen, and it does happen. And oh boy, does it happen!
This is kind of an interesting this is like an interesting combination of both rule sets of cage matches. At this point, we've hit the full gambit on this show. Cody Rhodes and Wardlow was a straight up, you must pin the guy in the ring to win the cage match. Brett and Owen was a, you must leave the cage to win. This match was a, you could do either.
Yeah.
You could leave the cage to win, or you could just pin the guy.
Which I really like those. I kind of like having both as options.
I do too.
Because it allows for a little more like it allows for more like thematic fluidity, because we talked last week about how slightly weird it was that like for the blood feud of Bret Hart versus Owen Hart, it was you have to escape the cage. So if you have it where you could do either, like in that way you could allow for more like you can have both as options always, and just have it be more narratively fitting for whatever somebody chooses.
It kind of allows you to have your cake and eat it too, in that like the problem with a cage match that must end in the ring is that there's not as much incentive to do stuff on the cage, which can be visually fun kind of moments and a unique aspect of a cage match. But when you must end the match by leaving the cage, then you don't really have a psychological incentive to like do regular wrestling moves. So you spend the whole match just kind of climbing the cage, punching each other off, climbing the cage, punching each other off, yada yada yada.
Yeah, trying to incapacitate your opponent just enough so that you can escape, but that's about it.
Yeah, by letting you win either way, it allows you to have like a real match here, but also do cage stuff.
Yeah, a combination of the two, right? Again, both are options. But yeah, so they go to work, and you do get a sense like, thanks to these two being contained in a cage, like this is actually going to stay somewhat under control, because they are just as pissed off with each other as they were when they were like fighting in the frickin' mezzanine.
But now they can't do that, so I guess we're just going to have to be a little more controlled.
Yeah, like literally, the match is literally done like when somebody leaves the ring, and like sure the other person could follow them out, but yeah, whatever. Narrative.
But then what doesn't matter? It's already over.
Yeah, exactly.
You already took the loss.
Yeah. So there's this kind of cool like, yeah, no, that's legit. Like they're fighting inside a cage that keeps things a little more under control. Nice. Yeah. But
a cage match did what it's designed to do. Finally,
yeah, imagine that. Kept people in and out. But yeah, so we get it, and it of course is another great showing between the two of them. And this time, again, we're talking about power levels. This time, Mundo felt like really on his game. I really appreciate Mundo's narrative ability to bounce back. Like that's a thing with him, in that if like he can get really badly beaten down, and he did like the first time he really encounters Cuerno in earnest is after his fight with Cage. He does a cage fight with featuring Cuerno, and it is a cage match with Cuerno. Anyway, after Cuerno shows up after his fight with Cage, he gets totally shut down because he's injured and whatever. And then the next one, they're evenly matched. It ends with a double DQ, and they just keep going until both of them are sprawled out against a collapsed cage wall. Which, hey, shit, cage wall. God damn.
Hey,
was this all just like symbolic setup for them having an actual cage match? Anyway.
Yes.
And then in this one, they have a pretty even back and forth, but Mundo seems to be in control for most of it. At least from what I could tell. Maybe I'm speaking out of line here, but I think from what I can tell, he felt in control for most of it.
Yeah, Mundo got a lot in, and you could make
and I would say the most attempted climbs up the cage.
Yeah, he did a lot of trying to. He was happy to leave. He's not the one. He's not the pursuing one here.
He was trying to get out of there, right? He's really working to win this match, and of course Cuerno's being Cuerno and like, I'm gonna get him, sort of thing.
I'm not leaving.
Yeah, hell no.
I wanted this.
Yeah, I want to destroy this man. And Puma's and Mundo's like, no, fuck you.
No, all right, I'm gonna head out.
Yeah. But again, that's the nice thing about letting you do both ways, is literally within the match, the two wrestlers can mix and match. And Mundo's just trying to be like, he's trying to be like, I'm out of here. I'm not dealing with your bullshit anymore. Bye. And of course, Cuerno's like, I want to destroy, and the mixed rule set makes it really work practically.
Yeah. It lets them both play to what makes the most sense for them narratively to want to do. And the end is absolutely insane.
Oh my god.
Okay.
Oh my god. This was so cool.
He knocks Cuerno off the cage because Mundo was trying to leave, and Cuerno came up to meet him, and then Mundo knocked Cuerno off.
And again, the narrative of the match leading up to this was great because, like, we've already had one segment where they're both hanging on to the cage kind of at the top rope and they're punching each other back and forth and they both end up falling down. They've now done another one of those, but this time Mundo's able to get the upper hand just enough and he throws Cuerno down on the floor while remaining on the top rope. And that was really satisfying to see. Again, this had a great, like, build up to it.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, wait, is he actually going to get the dub from this? And so
he's at the top of the cage, and you think, and they're like, you only got to do, you got it, it's over. And then he's like, and then Mundo, he has second thoughts.
He kind of pauses, like his one of his legs is resting on top of the cage. And honestly, what I thought was going to happen was they were going to play up like, oh no, Leggy Boy's leg is stuck on the cage and Cuerno's going to come get him. Oh no. But that's not what happened.
No. So Mundo, the madman, decides to go to the top. He stands on the top corner of the cage. And Cuerno's back up. And Mundo does a backflip corkscrew onto Cuerno. It's cool, even cooler than it's cooler than what I can make it sound like it was. It was absolutely wild to see him do this.
Well, again, narratively, what helps too is that, like, there is this, like, great acting from Mundo here. There's this moment there, he gets this flash in his eyes as he stops and he kind of looks back and he's like, no, you know what? I need to finish this. I'm not playing the escape route way.
And he sees an opportunity.
Yep. He now that he's got, like, that upper hand, he's like, nope, I have a chance to finish this. And he slowly turns around. He's kind of got that, like, wild, reckless abandon look in his eyes. And oh my god, he goes for it. And Cuerno just does not stand a chance.
Got nothing. And then and Mundo is able to pick up the win by pinfall inside the cage.
Yeah.
And that is how we end off episode 18 is Mundo in victory.
And it was so, like, literally, I literally cheered watching that moment because I did not see that coming every step of the way until he was declared victorious. I thought something was going to go wrong. I was waiting for Cuerno to get, like, for Mundo's hubris to get the better of him or for Cuerno to pull something tricky. But no, Mundo gets the win, and what a satisfying fucking win it is to see. Oh my god, did that feel good. I literally threw up my arms and yelled, yes! It was incredible. That was one of the most satisfying match ends I've watched in a long time.
No, that was fantastic. That was fantastic. I agree.
And felt very earned.
Yep. And so we have now reached the end of our 2 episodes this week. It's so hard. It's hard to do these kind of wrap up situations because I feel like I'm just going to say the same thing over and over again. Lucha Underground is really good, and there's a lot of really interesting storylines going on right now.
Well, what's this? I mean, these 2 episodes for me, like this wasn't like the most like this, and God, I feel like maybe this is me repeating shit again. Like kind of watching some of these in the moment, I had moments where I was like, this is like less than stellar. Like obviously like the Ivelisse and Angelico stuff. And like I said, even though it narratively made sense for it, the Phoenix versus Mil Muertes fight could have been a lot more like engaging for me personally. Just a lot of little things like that. But even then, even when most of episode 17 is spent in video packages, there's still good video packages and just everything this show has to offer. Like even when it's not like reaching insane heights for me, it just feels nice to watch. Something about it. It feels accessible. It feels it feels like a comfort show in a lot of ways. Something that's just, it's good to watch. It doesn't feel like it's dredged down in baggage. It doesn't feel like, for the most part, there's all this kind of like squicky shit you have to get through to get to the most, to the good stuff. Again, one thing accepting here. But for the most part, this just feels like a good show to watch. Just it makes me flatly happy, even in its less strong moments. Which, again, not to say this was like these were weak episodes by any means, but like even in the moments where I'm being a little more critical of what's going on, or I'm like, wow, this is getting really goofy. I just have a good time. I just get a good feeling while watching Lucha Underground, and that's just like the magic of it for me. Is something, it has a je ne sais quoi that's just consistently enjoyable for me on a certain level.
Yeah, I would agree. Lucha Underground is just very fun to watch. Pretty much every time.
Every single time. It has its moments of but for the most part, every time I so look forward to every single goddamn time we return to Boyle Heights. Every time, it excites me so much.
Yep. So, what are we doing next time? Next time, it is time to return to WCW, where we continue the assembling of the New World Order, as they will eventually be named. As we got Scott Hall, it's time to get Kevin Nash in on this.
God damn it. All right. Diesel's going to be brought in for actually good things this time. Okay, I'm going to try to be nice.
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Diesel's going to be here.
Yeah.
Because,
well, the artist formerly known as Diesel.
Yep. And you will come to learn that you got to look at the adjective.
Okay.
That'll make sense next week.
Okay. WCW was great last time. Let's see what it has to offer for round 2.
Yep. David, hit our plugs.
Yes, sir. All right, friends. Thank you once again for joining us in the wild, wacky world of wrestling. We are so happy to have you all with us. If you are a return listener, oh my gosh, it's an utter treat to have you with us once again. As always, we thank you for welcoming us back into your eardrums. We hope it was a pleasant experience. If you are a first-time listener, if you are joining us for the first time ever, welcome. We are elated to have you come on with us as well. We are a show that is here for both noobs and knockouts alike. So whether you be an experienced vet or someone who's just stumbling upon this stuff for the first time, we hope you have had a good time regardless. If you'd like to continue having a good time with us and you're not entirely sure how to do so, I will tell you. First of all, you can follow us on YouTube. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast. Subscribe to us, hit that bell, make sure it's the nice solid gray color that means you're notified every time we drop a new episode. Give us those likes, give us those comments, add us to your favorites playlist. Check out our playlist. Austin has been so gracious as to assemble every arc we follow onto the show into its own playlist. Very nicely organized. Allows you to streamline a lot of things. It is awesome. You can also find us on 3 of the best places to listen to your podcasts, which are Spotify, Apple, and Google. Follow us, download us, give us ratings, all that stuff that tells the algorithm that these dudes that you're listening to are super cool. Maybe more people should listen to them. I'm just saying. We also have our social medias. You can follow us on Twitter at Noobs and Knox Pod. That's Noobs, the letter N, Knox Pod. We got it on screen now if you're watching on YouTube. I cannot point to this now.
Yeah. That's as good as that's going to get.
Abagoo. Yeah, right there, baby. Check it out. You can definitely check us out there. We love to interact with the wrestling fandom community online. We reply to a whole bunch of different accounts and just interact with people and drop some spicy memes. It's a great time. And of course, we post every single time we drop a new episode, and the absolute staple of our Twitter, Austin live tweets his wrestling watching. My friend, what is on the docket coming up this week?
All right. Oh my God. AEW. Let's start with the wrestling show that I watch most consistently live every single week. AEW Dynamite, live on TNT at 8 p.m. Eastern time. They are back on the road. As of this recording, but not as of when this episode will drop, this will be their first week back on the road after being in Jacksonville for 14 months. Thank God. But this is all very exciting times, as upcoming will be Fyter Fest nights 1 and 2, as well as Fight for the Fallen, and as well as the upcoming debut of their newest Friday night show, Rampage, which I will not be live tweeting because it's Fridays at 10 p.m. I don't know if I'm going to how much I'm going to watch that live.
Sure.
But I also follow WWE and Impact Wrestling pretty well. So we also will live tweet pay-per-views of all three of those companies, WWE, WWE, Impact, and AEW. So coming up in July, we have WWE Money in the Bank, July 18th. And so here's what we have so far. We have the Money in the Bank ladder match for the men, featuring Ricochet, who is Prince Puma, by the way, John Morrison, who is Johnny Mundo, Matt Riddle, Drew McIntyre, Big E, Kevin Owens, and 2 other people to be determined. And the winner will get a world title opportunity whenever they want. Key word there, whenever.
Yeah. So that's the magic of Money in the Bank.
As it goes. Nowadays, we also have Money in the Bank matches for the women. And so far, we have Asuka, Naomi, Alexa Bliss. She's been on this show now. She's very different these days. She has spooky magic powers now. Nikki Cross, Carmella, Zelina Vega, and 2 more women yet to be determined. We also have currently 4 championship matches. For the WWE Championship, we got Bobby Lashley, the Almighty, versus Kofi Kingston, Kofi Mania. Let's go. I'm here for it. I know he probably won't win this one, but I really want him to.
God, it makes me so sad how much Kofi does not win when he so should every single time.
Man, I'm telling you, him winning the WWE title at WrestleMania a couple of years back, still a top 5 moment in WWE in the last 5 years at least. What a time. Then we have for the Raw Women's Championship, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair. For the WWE Universal Championship, we have the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns.
Acknowledge him.
Yep. You got to acknowledge the head of the table.
True.
Against Edge. And then for the SmackDown Women's Championship, we have Bianca Belair versus Bayley in an I Quit match. We haven't had that on our show before, but it is a match where no rules. The only way to win is to make your opponent verbally submit and say that they quit.
Ooh, okay.
And it can be a very vicious match. There's a few infamous matches that went a little too far. We might talk about someday, so I don't really want to give away a lot.
Okay.
But yeah, upcoming same weekend, the day before, as it turns out, July 17th will be Impact Slammiversary. It's their anniversary show. Who would have guessed? So far, we only have a couple matches on the card, but there are still a couple weeks to go. Impact likes to kind of throw a lot of their paper. They like to build storylines and then announce matches right here at the end. So going forward, right now we have 3 matches on the card. We have the belt collector, Kenny Omega, named so because he is the Impact World Champion, the AEW World Champion, and he is the AAA Mega Champion. Yes, that is the same title belt that Alberto El Patron has at this point in time in Lucha Underground. Same title.
That's interesting that he's just like he's racking it all up, I guess.
Yeah, he's 3-time world champion. He's taking on Sami Callihan for the Impact World Championship. Then we have the Impact X Division Championship match in an Ultimate X match. It's like a ladder match, but there are scaffolds that you have to climb as opposed to climbing a ladder. It's pretty fucking wild. Josh Alexander versus Petey Williams versus Trey Miguel versus Ace Austin versus Chris Bay versus Rohit Raju. When we get a little bit closer, I'll go deeper about them. And finally we have Chris Sabin of the Motor City Machine Guns against Moose in a singles match. Chris Sabin doesn't really appreciate that Moose previously kayfabe injured him, and he's like, "Hey man,
What the hell?
Hey, man, what the hell? Before you're running off to go try to be world champion, yeah, I think you should deal with me. Like, how dare you, sir? And so more matches will inevitably be added as the show goes on. How you can watch those shows that I've just mentioned. Dynamite is again on 8 p.m. Eastern on TNT. Or if you're having a little funsies with the VPN, you can use the VPN and watch and subscribe to Fight TV, AEW Plus for $5 a month. You get access to a commercial-free version of AEW live every single week. It's how I watch, to be honest. Up front there. I watched the commercial-free cut. So then WWE Money in the Bank, every single show is on Peacock. You can sign up for the $5 a month tier, which has commercials, ads. I don't know if they're embedded into the show. I assume they would be, but I have never had that $5 tier because it's only $10 a month to just get it ad free. So
Yeah.
with that, and then Impact Wrestling, that's a legitimate pay-per-view. It is $40 on Fight TV or with your local pay-per-view provider. I understand that can be a little pricey, especially for something if you're kind of just if you're kind of just like learning about these shows for the first time, wanting to try it out. I will say that Impact does air every week on Twitch, Thursdays at 8 p.m. So,
that's pretty dope.
That's some free wrestling right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I will say that Impact only runs pay-per-views 4 times a year. So, and I think they're always been worth the money in my book. So, but that is what is upcoming for our live tweeting.
Nice. So be sure to check it out. Austin does some really great work with that. He's very diligent about it, and the insights, commentary, and jokes he has to offer about all of it is awesome. So be sure to check that out. You can also email us. We have a Gmail account, noobsandknockoutspod@gmail.com. That's noobs, the word and this time, knockoutspod@gmail.com. Just send us something to say hi. Tell us what you like about the show, what you don't, suggestions or ideas of things you want to see coming up, things you'd enjoy hearing us discuss on this show. Just generally say hi and say how much you enjoy our delightful, wonderful, honey-rich, sweet voices, and all that good stuff. We just love
our faces people. Now we do that with now.
That's true. That's
people
true. How much you marvel at our brilliant, transcendent mugs, as it were.
Sure.
Just anything to say hi. Just feel free to reach out. We love saying hi back, all that good stuff. And finally, you can subscribe to us on our Patreon. We are the Noobs and Knockouts podcast, also on Patreon. $1 a month gets you early access to episodes and a shout out at the end of each episode.
Yep. See you guys next time.
Hasta luego.